So let us be very clear from the very beginning, the Gita does not teach us irresponsibility. It does not teach carelessness. It does not teach us passive spirituality. It teaches something far deeper. Be responsible for your efforts and be thoughtful about the outcomes. But do not become inwardly attached to the results. That is a very significant thing. And if we do not understand this distinction properly, we will either become an anxious workers or a confused spiritual people. You may work sincerely and still face delays. You may deserve recognition but still be overlooked. You may plan carefully and still encounter reversals. So if your inner life depends completely on outer outcomes, you will suffer repeatedly. Hare Krishna. Today I want to speak about one of the most quoted and also one of the most misunderstood teachings from the Bhagavad Gita. This verse is Bhagavad Gita 2.47, and many people quote it just like this: just do your work and don't care about the result. But that is not the full teaching, because in real life, results do matter. A student must care whether he is actually learning. A doctor must care whether the patient improves. A manager must care whether the team delivers. A business owner must care whether the company survives. And similarly, a devotee of Krishna doing service must care whether the service is done properly. So let us be very clear from the very beginning, the Gita does not teach us irresponsibility. It does not teach carelessness. It does not teach us passive spirituality. It teaches something far deeper. Be responsible for your efforts and be thoughtful about the outcomes. But do not become inwardly attached to the results. That is a very significant thing. And if we do not understand this distinction properly, we will either become an anxious workers or a confused spiritual people. The real problem is not the people want results. The real problem is that people become psychologically dependent on results. They do not just work for an outcome. They begin to live from outcome to another outcome. If this succeeds, I will be peaceful. If this fails, I will be shattered. If I am praised, I will feel worthy. If I am ignored, I will become bitter. If this project works, I am somebody. If it is not, then what is the value of all my efforts? This is where the suffering begins. Because now work is no longer just a work. It has become ego, fear. It has become a self-worth. It becomes an emotional dependence. And then even a sincere effort becomes very heavy. A person may still look disciplined from outside, but inside there is tension, irritation, comparison, and insecurity. So the issue is not result orientation, the issue is result attachment. Now this topic must be understood very carefully. If you are doing any serious work in life, you need direction, you need goals, you need standards, timelines, measurement, feedback. And you need to check whether what you are doing is actually useful. Otherwise, the work becomes vague and sentimental. Let's suppose if a temple is organizing a festival, there must be planning. If a teacher is trying to reach out to people, he should think about the effectiveness. If a student is preparing for an exam, he should assess performance. And if a leader is responsible for a team, he must track the output and the quality. That is a very natural intelligence. And this is not against the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Attachment begins when the result enters the heart in the wrong way. Now, not as an information, not as a feedback, but as an emotional control. And then the people stop saying, I will work sincerely towards this outcome, and start saying what? I need this outcome in order to remain stable. Now that is bondage. Because now peace is postponed until the external world behaves in a preferred way. And the world does not function like that. You may do everything properly and still not get the expected result immediately. You may work sincerely and still face delays. You may deserve recognition but still be overlooked. You may plan carefully and still encounter reversals. So if your inner life depends completely on outer outcomes, you will suffer repeatedly. What Gita 2.47 exactly says? Krishna says to Arjuna, you have a right to action, but not to the fruits alone. What this means? Your field is efforts, your field is duty, your field is sincerity, your field is discipline, your field is consciousness. But the total result is never produced by you alone. Result depends on many factors. Your efforts, the effort of others, the time, the place, the circumstances, the nature around us, and above all, the sanction from the Supreme Lord. So to be result-oriented is intelligent, but to think you fully control results is illusion. That illusion creates anxiety before the action, pride, and despair. Krishna removes that illusion. He is telling Arjuna to stop caring about this. He is teaching Arjuna to act without the inner slavery. And Arjuna is one of the best examples to understand this. Arjuna, he was never lazy. He was not incompetent. He was not indifferent. He was deeply concerned about the consequence. He was thinking, what will happen if this battle is fought? What will happen to the family culture? What will happen to the society? What will happen to those whom I love? And what will happen to me? So Arjuna was absolutely outcome conscious. But he became inwardly overwhelmed. His vision became clouded by attachment, grief, and mental agitation. His hands trembled, his bow slipped. He no longer wanted to act. Now this is important. Krishna does not tell him, come on Arjuna, forget the outcome completely. Never also Krishna says something like this, do whatever you feel like to do. He educated Arjuna. He corrected his consciousness. He taught him identity, duty, detachment, and surrender. And then Arjuna fought. This is the model, not careless action, not emotional paralysis, but purified action. Arjuna remained serious about the mission, but he was no longer meant to act from possessiveness and collapse. He was to act as an instrument. That is the balance most of us miss. And the same confusion exists today. A founder may say, if this startup fails, my life is a failure. An employee can say, if I do not get promoted now, I am worthless. A student says, if I do not top this exam, everything is over. And a devotee can say, if my service is not noticed, what is the use? No, this is not dedication. This is attachment entering the mind and mixing with the duty. And once attachment mixes with the duty, three things usually happens. The first, anxiety increases because the mind is trying to control what is beyond his control. Second, quality often falls because fear reduces the clarity. And the third is disappointment becomes deeply personal. Instead of learning from the result, the person becomes wounded by the results. This is why many hardworking people are not peaceful. Not because they work too much alone, but because they are inwardly chained to outcomes. Now what healthy detachment actually looks like? Let's try to understand this. Healthy detachment does not mean indifference. It means I will prepare seriously. I will execute sincerely. I will care about the consequences. I will improve wherever needed. But I will not hand over my peace to the result. That is strength. Detachment means I can examine failure without self-hatred. Detachment means I can receive success without arrogance. Detachment means I can continue service even when my appreciation is absent. And detachment means I can learn, adjust, and continue without becoming internally destroyed. This is why detachment is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of maturity. So let's talk about some future solutions. So how do we actually practice these teachings? The first one, work with a goal, not with a greed. Set goals, plan properly, be organized, but keep asking, am I serving through this work or am I trying to extract identity from this work? That question changes everything. Measure results as a feedback, not as a self-worth. Results are needed. They tell us what is working and what is not. But results should be used for correction, not for self-destruction. A bad outcome should lead to humility and learning, not hopelessness. Third one, offer the work before and after. Before beginning, pray, oh my Lord, please give me the right consciousness. And after finishing, again pray, oh my Lord Krishna, whatever has happened, I offer it to you. Please correct what is lacking. Now this protects the heart from the false proprietorship. Fourth, remember that you effort, not the entire universe. This one remembrance itself reduces so much anxiety. You are responsible, but you are not the supreme controller. That position belongs to Krishna. Fifth, do not escape the duty in the name of detachment. This is another danger. Sometimes people misuse spirituality. They say, I am detached. But actually, they are avoiding efforts, discipline, accountability, and even some discomforts. Now, that is not transcendence, that is avoidance. Krishna does not teach Arjuna escapism, he taught him purified actions. Sixth one, keep identity rooted in service, not the outcome. Now, this is the deepest solution. If I see myself as the Krishna servant trying sincerely, then success will not intoxicate me and failure will not annihilate me. Because my identity is not hanging on the results. My identity is in service. And the final truth the world teaches. You are your outcome. Krishna teaches you are more than your outcome. The world says win, and then you deserve a peace. Krishna says act in the right consciousness and let the peace come from the proper alignment. The world teaches control. The Gita teaches responsibility without illusion. The world teaches attachment. Krishna teaches dedication without bondage. So yes, be result oriented absolutely, be thoughtful, be sharp, be disciplined, be accountable, but do not be attached. Do not let result decide your worth. Do not let delay destroy your faith. Do not let failure poison your identity. And do not let the success inflate your ego. Work sincerely, reflect honestly, improve continuously. Offer everything to Krishna, and that's what the Karma Yoga is. And that's the maturity. Hare Krishna.